Welcome to the Abarcast, where we speak about entrepreneurship, humble beginnings, and fitness. We have a special guest here today. We're going to drop some fucking sauce here. Joe, roll the intro. Introduce my guest. Announcements, guys. I specialize in fat loss and building booties. They call me the booty doctor, if you didn't know that, Arthur. So online coaching, which includes diet, individualized training programs, are available. In-person training is also available. If you're located in the tri-state area, please reach out to me on Instagram or email. Both are tagged in my channel. Moving on to my guest. I have my guy Arthur here. Arthur, I know you, but for the people that do not know you, who are you? What do you do for a living? Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Sounds good. Well, good evening, first of all, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it, brother. Let's cheer for that.
Cheers, brother.
Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Artur Shakhnazarov. Obviously, I came from Connecticut. I drove here.
Thank you, by the way, for driving.
Of course.
A very long way.
Of course. It's a pleasure. So I've been in America for 20 years. I came at 2003. Came 2003, no English. I came to the land of opportunity, of course, seeking for a better future. My parents left everything behind just because they knew it's a land of opportunity. So we came here. I was excited, seeing yellow buses. You don't see that back home. So I was like, okay, this is my journey. I'm gonna make it. School. I got back to school. I started going to school. No English. Can't talk to people. Can't make friends. I worked almost every job you can possibly think. First legal job was Pizza Hut.
Wow.
Yeah, Pizza Hut was my first legal. Prior to that, to clarify, illegal job. It was under the table. I was packing cookies, peeling potatoes for $5 an hour, 88 hours a week. I used to go to work. It was dark. I used to get home. It was dark. And I thought I was doing good because, you multiply 5 times 88 American dollars. I thought it was good. Then Pizza Hut. Then I work all other fast food restaurants. I work in college. So I did what my parents told me to do. We brought you here, go to school, get education, get a good job. So, I followed the plan. That plan didn't work for me. I graduated from college, couldn't find a job. Very luckily for me, building a network, I was able to land a job for corporate America. I was working, and then, 2008, 2009, I got laid off. And when I got laid off...
Was this due to the crash, 2008, 2009?
It had, all of it connected, connected. I worked for a company, Pratt & Whitney. Maybe you guys heard it. Okay. So I worked for a company, I got laid off. I remember like yesterday, because I used to party. A friend of mine, VIPs. And it was one night, it was Saturday night, I'm driving home, and I was like, you know what? I got to start saving money. I'm young. It's 2008. I got to start saving money. I got to start opening up an extra saving account. Starting Monday, when I go to work, I'm going to tell them to put 20% away from my savings.
Right.
So I go to work, and I see my manager. She was part of a union, supervisor. She was crying, packing her stuff. She got laid off.
Oh.
Same night, they let me off. But that's the best thing that ever happened to me, because that forces me to go and look for something else. So that's how I got into sales. And when I got into sales, I start learning about self-development, learning more about sales, how sales is the best career you can follow is sales, because there's no cap. You can sell anything you do is sales.
Yeah.
So
especially for a man.
Especially for a man.
Right.
I never understood people who says I hate sales. I was like, well, then why did you dress up? You put a cologne on, you're selling yourself, right?
Exactly.
You did a makeup, you're selling yourself.
Right.
So I followed that journey, and that was the best journey ever, because that led me through more network, better network, different avenues to make money. And that's how I end up more into the real estate. Did a couple flips, kept some properties, then it was a headache. Then met a partner of mine, and then we started doing it again. And then we decided to start doing, okay, so if we're going to do real estate, let's figure out what's the best way to do real estate. So that's why we got into the wholesaling. Besides that, I do leadership trainings, sales trainings for young entrepreneurs or young people because before that, prior to that, I was doing telecommunications.
Right.
Sales over the phone. And I told you I have a clothing line because I love dressing up. You look sharp, which is always look sharp.
You look good too, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So I start my clothing line because everywhere I go, I have to tailor my suits. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I open up my own line? And that's how I have this on the side, just a clothing line, suits and shoes. And we do custom dresses. So, and now I do different projects. So we're trying to work on international projects. El Salvador, it's a next big city. It's one of the safest cities right now. So that's another project we'll talk later. But
yeah, that's
pretty much it. That's where I come from, and that's where I am now.
So to pick your brain, because at the end of the day, you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Okay. And your main thing here is wholesaling. That was the first thing you mentioned to me when we first spoke.
Right.
So for the audience out there that maybe want to get into real estate and don't even know what the fuck wholesaling is, what is wholesaling in simpler terms?
You basically are selling a contract.
Okay.
You're selling a contract. You're putting a property under contract and you're selling it to someone else.
Right.
I also see it as a flipping a house, right? Besides without flipping a house, you're flipping a house.
Okay.
And I think it's the best way to start for anybody to start is wholesaling. I personally never wanted to get my license in real estate in Connecticut because the amount of money you make with the commission and the house pricing there, it's not worth it for me. I'd rather go and put a property under contract and resell it.
Right.
So, I mean, in simple terms, you get it under contract on one price and you resell it for another price.
Okay.
The biggest wholesaling deal that I did, which is not usual, was $54,000. Anybody who does a wholesaling, they'll tell you make 10 to 15. Sometimes you even take 5. So it's like, well, we spent so much time, let's just get rid of it. At least we made $5,000. So on average, you make 10 to 15. The biggest one we got was $54,000 without putting any of our money. We just sign a paper contract and resell it to a flipper.
So you're basically the middleman.
Middleman, that's what it is. You're a middleman.
Wow. That's great. Now, can anyone do this?
I believe if somebody's definitely interested, I believe any competent man who's into sales or who wants to make money or who wants to start entrepreneurship, I think they can do it. I believe if I can do it, I think anybody can do it.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And you're a big name in Connecticut. You reside in Connecticut. You're a juggernaut there, one of the biggest wholesalers there. What made you one of the biggest, if not the biggest, wholesaler in Connecticut?
I think I'm going to try to keep a short answer. I think when you become adaptable to situation and you'll be able to read the situation, and situation also includes people, and you'll be able to adjust accordingly, then you'll be able to grow faster.
Right.
And I'm not talking about grow faster as in terms of your income.
Okay.
Because that will come.
Right.
Right. I'm talking about you've been in a game, you understand people, you understand yourself, you're not being greedy, you understand what it takes to build a network, build a relationship.
Okay.
And then you learn from it, right? You learn from it, and if you be able to be adaptable in anything you do, to be able to learn and to be able to progress, I think that's where you're going to be able to grow as a business, grow as a person, and when you do that, people like you more, people refer more, and I think any business I'll do, if you apply the main basic things, being self-aware, understand people, understand yourself, understand basic of sales, be able to provide solution for people, not being greedy. And then I think if you apply those things to anything you do, it's like instead of taking a stairs here, you're taking an elevator.
Right.
I think it'll just boost you up. It will boost you up to make you grow faster. So, I mean, we're not where we want to be yet, but yes, we're definitely growing faster than I know some other people that in Connecticut, trying to still wholesale it, trying to be greedy and trying to lie to the customers and stuff. I truly, besides making money, because I'm not Mother Teresa, I need to make money, I got to pay bills. But I truly believe I do help people, because people aren't educated. They don't know what's going on, and they just let it go. And when it gets to the point when it goes to foreclosure, because we're not only doing the wholesale. So my company, what we do is we do A to Z. Whether you want a top dollar for your property, we have a top agents that will list your property. I get cut from that.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through foreclosure, don't worry about it. We got attorneys, we'll be able to do it. Bankruptcy, we'll be able to try to save your property. You're doing short sale, we'll be able to help you do short sale. So we do everything.
Right.
So I truly believe what I do is I do help people. And there's plenty families that I helped. Not only save money, return to their dream home or their childhood home. So, but again, it comes from those basic knowledge of self-awareness and understanding people.
Do you think your humble beginnings has helped you with your businesses, and how disciplined you are running your businesses, as complex as your real estate company?
I think that's the foundation. Is
because you told me you landed in America at 16. You went through all these jobs.
There's if we're gonna do another episode about humble beginnings, I'm gonna talk about how ramen noodle was my breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
So yes, definitely. And just seeing my parents struggle, seeing my mom working, seeing my dad working when he owned a business back home, and coming here and putting his head down and just working. I had no excuses. I was like, I can't complain. I have to get to work. That's why I was working 88 hours a week. So I believe that my humble beginnings got first of all, I see work ethic from my parents work so hard, having no choice but help them. And also, it's just all the struggle. I think like if there's no joy enjoying good cognac if you never could afford a lunch. I remember fried rice, right? What was it? Pork fried rice, fried chicken. I was like, I couldn't even afford that back in the days. Right? I have to buy it, split it. Okay, I'm going to eat this now and I'm going to eat this later. So all that, what it did for me is made me appreciate and it made me work harder. And so the answer to your question is absolutely. But you know what? It's also a lot of times, especially in the real estate for me, it really, sometimes it pushes me back because business is business, right? And we got to make money. There's a lot of times I lost money or I made no money because I truly wanted to help the family. I was like, well, this is business-wise, it makes no sense for me, but I'm still going to do it because you know what? It reminds me and my family when we were living in a studio apartment with 5 people. So you know what? I got to help them out.
That's great, bro. That's great. Michelle, do we have any questions or anything like that?
We have one.
What's up?
It says, for the guest, how often do you travel for business or leisure?
For the guests, we got a question on Instagram live. Because, again, guys, we are live on Instagram, on YouTube. And the question to my guest, Artur, is, do you travel a lot for business or leisure?
I do travel a lot for business. Again, from humble beginnings, there was no such a thing, oh, it's too far from me, or is this. I did everything it took for me to be able to. It's like if there's a deal, if there's an opportunity to meet someone, I have to go. No money, definitely. I'll figure out the gas.
Right.
I'll carpool. I'll figure out something. So I would, because doing that when I was hungry, of course now I'm more selective, right? And now I was like, okay, does it make sense for me? Should I do it? But I always travel because there's always opportunities. You always have to travel. I think you got to get out of your comfort zone, and local is good, but if you want to grow, you definitely got to travel. So to answer that, I do travel a lot for business.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think to capitalize on that, it's very, very important to even travel by yourself. Yes. You know, like just 3 weeks ago, I went to Dubai for business for our network, and shit, it was a 16-hour flight. So I had to upgrade to first class, and I was more on the plane than the actual inside Dubai. And I was there for maybe a day and a half, and I just flew back. Once I landed, I went straight to work, and that's it. And I was there just to network, just to meet new people, just to put myself out of my comfort zone so I could grow, learn from multimillionaires up there.
Can I ask you a question? Would you do it again?
Of course.
Was it worth it?
Of course. It's the experience. Yeah. And then plus, you know, you get to post some Instagram, Instagram stories, you know what I mean?
That's the thing. That's the thing. People will cheat themselves out, right? They'll sabotage themselves out. I never let the reason why I do something, the reason why I do business, to stop me from doing the business.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I'm doing this business for my mom or for my son or for my grandma. I was like, hey, we have an important meeting. We should go. I can't. It's my grandmother's birthday. Or it's my son. I never had. I was like, no. I missed my dad's birthday. I missed so many birthdays. I missed my mom's birthday because I was working. But guess what? Now I can take them on vacation. I can do a birthday every day for them because you gotta take those sacrifices.
I like that. That's very important. Yeah. And you know what? Like, I didn't realize that until I started becoming more successful, because you know, I put myself in their shoes and I thought, you know what? They're not selfish for them to actually think, you know what? I'm mad at Brian for traveling for work, because at the end of the day, it's bettering my position, and they want the best for me. So if I'm gonna miss someone's quinceañera or miss, you know, someone's birthday or whatever the fuck, I come back, I treat them. There you go. It is what it is.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And you, like you said, you learn that with experience.
Yeah,
I guess you and I believe you have to have a mentor. You have to have somebody who at least one time told you that, because like, well, maybe you're right. Somebody once told me, don't think about what it costs you to go on that trip. Think about what it's going to cost you not to go on this trip. Because you never know who you can meet there. There's one meeting, one person, and then your whole business changes.
Hell yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Oh, man. That's a good one. All right. So transitioning from wholesaling, you know, you mentioned that you coach young entrepreneurs and sell reps in business,
Yes.
correct? What specifically do you guide these young men and or women to do during your under your supervision?
Right. Well, what I do now, it was more intense back in the days,
Okay.
where it was like we had twice a week skill training, then we have leadership training. Now it's more when I'm invited or paid to go do it for network marketing companies, for other companies. But overall, I think work ethic nowadays for new generation is not there. It's not there. People don't work hard. They don't know what working hard means, right? They want to become instant gratification. They want to get rich tomorrow. They don't know they don't understand the process, right? So, but the most important thing, what I teach them is self-development. You have to start. I never read the book. Like I never read books. I remember, and I had good grades. I had a good GPA, but it's because I knew how to network. However, I would come to the class. I'll find an empty page on my notebook. I was like, okay, so here's why I'm taking notes today, right? But I started reading books. My first book was self-development books, right? John C. Maxwell, Jim Rohn, all those books were. So back to your question is, I tell them, go pick up a book. Go educate yourself, right? And it starts with, how about you build your character? What about charisma, right? Do you understand simple steps of understanding yourself? Because if you don't understand yourself, you can't understand people. Right? That's super important. So I think all the trainings has to do with the self-development. And then, of course, then we add skills trainings, right? How to pick up the phone, how to 80% listening, 20% talking, feel, found. Understand. I mean, there's skills training there. But I think if you ask me what it is, it's self-development. It's understanding yourself, working on your emotional intelligence. I think that's very important. I think that's what new generation is missing.
That's great, man. That's amazing. Do you have like an age, like age gap, age range, a specific demographic that you really cater to, or is it just anyone? And how do they reach out to you?
Well, it's usually network marketing companies or telecommunication companies. My brother, which I think you definitely got to meet with him. You're gonna love him. He has a great energy. He's a crazier. He's a crazy version of me. He's a crazy version of me. He's running one of the biggest telecommunication company right now, and they're expanding in Florida. So me and him both started with back in the days in sales. So anybody, I believe anybody who's willing to learn or who wants to learn, I don't mind helping them. But you know, people don't look for help. They look for validations, and sometimes you got to tell them 15, 20 times. But to answer your questions, anybody, any sales organizations, but usually network marketing. And when you're in network marketing, it's either ladies or gentlemen and from 18 to 28 to 30 years old.
Okay.
But that's basically it. But
Understood. Now, you obviously dress well, like we mentioned before. I understand you're launching a clothing brand called Zave.
Zave Couture.
Okay, I was gonna say
Zave
Zave, but okay, Zave. So, Zave, I'm
Yeah,
pronouncing it correctly, right? Okay. So, talk to me about this clothing brand. What made you open up this brand, and what does it entail?
So, quick story how it happened. My best friend, his family, they're very good tailors. So his father teach him how to tailor. So they had business in Connecticut. So they have 2 locations, and the father and the mother retired and went back home. So they were selling one location because son can't run 2 locations. And again, like I told you, my problem always when I buy nice clothes, I gotta find somebody who's gonna tailor it to me because I like my clothes to be fitted.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just an opportunity. I was like, well, let me see the books. I was like, okay, it makes somewhat sense, make some money. I have some money. That's when the crypto wasn't big or anything. I was like, I'm glad I didn't put it in crypto then, you know? So then I just bought it. But I bought a tailor shop. I didn't buy a clothing line. I just bought the tailor shop because the numbers made sense. I need free tailoring. So that's why I bought it. But then when I bought the tailor shop, I have a partner now. He's an amazing guy, amazing tailor. I start seeing people coming to me with Macy's suits, Nordstrom suits, or any suits, and they're like a box, right? You know what I'm talking about. They're just box. It's like to tailor your suit is going to be like you pay $300 for a suit, and to tailor your suit is going to be another $200 or $300. So that's when the idea came. I was like, why don't I just get my own clothing line? Yeah. And I did not want to just buy suits and resell them. I was like, no, his family back home, they do suits, they do custom dresses. I'll show you the work after. It's amazing. Did you like the blazer?
By the way, yes, I was going to mention that. Guys, this man, he comes in here, and because he has his own brand, he comes in with a gift, a blazer. And I think that's very huge man to man, especially when, you know, we're exchanging value. You know, I'm putting him on my podcast, you know. I consider him a brother now, and especially if he's willing to do something like that, to bring a blazer, you know, just out of just kindness.
I appreciate it.
I really do appreciate that, man. And it looks great. I can't wait to wear it on this platform.
Perfect. Perfect.
And I'll make sure to give you a shout out when I do wear it.
Thank you so much. So that's why, if you like it,
yeah,
that's exactly what the idea came in. So that's why we started the line. So I started a line. Then I was like, you know, let me get the shoes line and suit line. And we started. So I remodeled the whole tailor shop. I'll show you a picture before and after. And now we became more. So it was more of 100% tailor shop. Now it's 80% suit store, 20% alteration.
Wow.
So and again, it's my passion. However, I'm not focusing on there right now. It's organically growing because my partner, he's doing a great job of taking care of it.
Yeah.
I'm focusing on taking over the market in real estate while I can.
Where's this located?
Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Wow. That's great, man. Congratulations,
Thank
bro.
you.
You mentioned that you also have a big project in El Salvador. Do you mind just like maybe touching base on that? Maybe you don't want to go into too much detail.
I'm just gonna tell you.
You did tell me it's huge.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge. I know Jose is smiling right there, but it's gonna be huge because just do your research, right? I'll tell people just do your research. I always try to be ahead of the trends, right? Like it's like I want to be before the trend hits, like everybody start doing it. So just look up Surf City 1 and look up the current laws that El Salvador has regarding the helping the local businesses and crypto. If you see that, put it this way. Now we're having a Surf City 2, right? So it's a second wave, and it's going to be even bigger and better. We definitely can talk more about it, but it's a real estate project. It's going to be involved as well with crypto. So it's going to be something new, something huge in El Salvador. Bro. So
that's great.
So hopefully everything works out and we'll travel.
Big moves, man. Yes. Big moves. Jesus Christ. All right. Michelle, do we have any questions until before I go to the next topic? No, nothing. Worst travel experience? That's a good question from Instagram Live. Make sure you guys are dropping questions, guys. 2 successful men here. Worst travel experience?
I believe there's no worst traveling experience. If you asked me before when I was broke,
Yeah.
every traveling experience, it was worse because you're not focusing on results. You're not focusing what can you get out of it.
Right.
I believe it's how you look at a situation.
Yeah.
Right. If you look at a situation on positive, it's like, okay, yeah, this happened, but you know what? At least I got this. Or you know what? At least I finished the audiobook while I was driving.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Right.
So I can't name one specific one. I mean, you wanna hear stories? We had no money. We're going for leadership training. I'm bringing 6-7 people with me who have less money than I do, and our car broke down. And then guess what? They're all hungry, so I have to, the halal guys.
Yeah.
So I have to share halal guys with 3 people, and then they're all tired, and I have to pay for their training, and then we're driving back at 12 o'clock, and then we get pulled over because the car was acting up, and by the time the cops talking to us and they took us out of the car blows up. It was Mazda 6, I think, or Mazda 3. You remember?
What?
Yeah. And then we had to call somebody else who was 40 minutes already ahead of us towards the Connecticut, come back, pick us up.
Did anybody get hurt?
Nobody got hurt. No, because it was they pulled the car because they had to tow the car.
Oh, okay.
The guy that we decided to go with because he didn't pay his tickets and stuff. It was crazy. We didn't know. He didn't know.
Right.
So it got pulled over. It got towed. And then when it got towed, as we're talking to the cops, the car blows up. I don't know how. But
Jesus
anyway,
Christ.
so we got the guy to drive 40 minutes back. And we drove, what did they call Mexican style when you got 30 people in a car? So we drove in it was SUV. It was like 9 of us, at the end of us or something like that, back to Connecticut. But you know what? Now you ask me, I don't think it was the worst,
Right.
at this point. But
You know what's crazy? You have those bad travel experiences, and then it ends up being a funny story that you end up sharing with someone else.
Yes, and I'll tell you right now, that night, that training, that in the morning, I was about to cancel. I was about to say I'm not going, but because I had people, so then you see, like I said, at that moment I thought it was, oh my God, this is worse. I want to quit. Later on, I figure out that day I did not even want to go there, but because I went there, I met one of my mentors who I actually had the chance to speak to, and because of that day, because I introduced myself, and later on, 2 weeks later, he invited me to come back for more like one-on-one training. And because of that helped me meet his friends, and his friends told me about other stuff. And then again, that's why I'm doing real estate today. So
Look at that, man. That's crazy.
So to answer the question, I believe there's no worst traveling experience.
I mean, one bad experience for me, and again, it's positive now. It was shitty, no pun intended, because it actually involved shit. And I'll share the story, but like now I could share it and we could laugh about it. I actually had to shit myself on the way to AC because I was so hungover, from a party. And I think that was like the worst 2 hours of my life because I had to throw out, my boxers. I had to throw out my pants. I was just literally in a towel in the back seat. It was horrible. So that was my worst experience.
There was other people there?
Yeah. It was really bad. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, that's a funny story for you guys. All right. So you're really big in embracing masculinity. Okay. Why should we encourage men especially to embrace their masculinity?
Because that's our nature. I believe that's our nature. And I believe, I don't know, maybe because the way I was raised, I'm so happy that I was born in 80s and 90s, right? And was raised in 90s because I think that's the best thing that ever can happen is you be able to raise with the difficulties. And if you understand, if you look at the history, right, all the wars, everything was ever accomplished is because some man had courage to get up and do something about it. Can we curse here?
Yeah, of course.
Instead of bitching about the situation and crying about the situation and for me, again, when I talk about this topic, people unfollows me, people hate me, people talk bad behind my back, but I don't care because my main thing is this: I have a son. Yeah, I told you, right?
Yep.
So my main thing is I'm super tough on him, and people say, "Why are you so tough on him?" Because I believe he needs to be tough. Because I'm trying to prepare him,
Of course.
for the future, and I'm telling him, everybody else your age right now getting raised like pussies.
Right.
I'm gonna raise you as a wolf.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a lion, and when you're gonna be 20, 30, you're gonna dominate everybody. Why? Just simply because you don't complain. Just simply because you do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Just simply because you work hard because there's no other way. Because your dad doesn't take excuses from you, and I think that's how everybody. I think if we do this, if everybody encourage this more, I think we'll be in a better place. I think the reason why we're in a bad place now with what's going on is because we don't have man being man the way they're supposed to be. I mean, I can talk about this whole.
Yeah, you know,
night long.
it's funny to be personal. I was raised by all women in my family, so all these women really tried to push a lot of femininity in my life, and deep down inside, I really felt like it wasn't my nature. And I had a father figure who was my grandfather, but he was 2 generations older than me, so there was just that limitation, you know what I mean, where he could only do so much and establish the foundations, but he couldn't really capitalize on modern times. Right. So I always thought about, especially since I never grew up with a father, you know, if I ever have a son, I would raise my son tough, just like you are raising your son. Make him go through obstacles, make him go through hardship, because it's going to prepare him for life. Okay? If I ever have a daughter, she needs to be spoiled as fuck, because at the end of the day, when she ends up finding another man, he ends up needing to replace you as, you know,
100%.
the caretaker.
100%.
And that father needs
You
to just
stand
be
as
like,
standards.
you know what? It's okay for you to marry my child or marry my daughter or be with my daughter, because I know that you can take care of my daughter just like I did.
Right.
And he's replacing my, you know what I'm saying? So my daughter's going to be spoiled. My son is going to be, you know, raised through hell. And I think there's different ways that you need to raise your children.
100%.
You know?
That's why I believe that's why you have to figure out a way to get out of the rat race, to make enough money where you can homeschool your kids or at least spend more time with them. Because if you look at an average household, mom works, dad works, who's raising our kids? Is the school.
Yeah.
School has a different agenda.
Right.
So I do not want that to be. That's why I spend as much time I can with my son and my brothers. And I just, my brother, by the way, he has 3 kids. He's homeschooling 2 of them. And the other one.
I think nowadays it should be like that.
Yeah. But you know what? You have to it's all about positioning yourself, right? Imagine if he wasn't an entrepreneur. Imagine if he was working in a factory. There's nothing wrong with that.
He'd have no choice.
He had no choice.
Yeah.
He had no choice. And then I don't want to have kids if they're going to grow up and completely go south, right? So I agree with you. And my daughter, I don't even want to talk about it. I do want to. I have a beautiful fiance, you know. I do want to have her. I always tell her I want a daughter like you. But, oh, my God, I feel bad for my daughter because I'm going to set the standard so high for her.
Right.
For her
and you should. And you should. Because then the woman's standard is going to be so high that, you know, she can only look up.
Yes, 100%. So that's why I believe we need a balance. And right now, it's not balanced. And if somebody asks me, I always tell this to my friend. I said, if I ever can ask I do believe in balance. However, if I cannot choose balance between old school or modern world, and I have to only choose, I would choose old school. You know why? Because I came out normal. You came out normal, right? We're doing fine, right? So I don't want to see what I see now in social media. So yes, we definitely need encourage young men to stop crying, stop bitching, get to work, take responsibilities, and work out. I started working out recently. I was always skinny guy. I used to break dance in high school. I was like, I'll never get fat. You know, age hits you, and especially when you work.
Yeah.
and I let myself go a couple years ago. I start working out. That's the best thing you can ever do. That's the best therapy you can do. I don't care about looking, like obviously look good is also important, but it's just the best way to boost up your self-confidence and just have a clarity is you gotta go work out.
That's very, very important.
You have to work out.
Yeah.
And I know you are guru in this, and I know that, and I'm new to this, but I just it's one of those things that young men needs to do.
Definitely. Artur, I want to share a clip with you because we're going to react to something, and then I want to hear your feedback on it. Okay, and then on top of that, Michelle, the next guest for After Hours is downstairs. If you don't mind getting her. All right. So you ready? There's gonna be 2 clips, and unfortunately for the people live, you're not gonna see this, but you're gonna have to see the the actual episode that's releasing in 2 days. All right, you ready?
Let's go.
So this is Bad Bunny getting ignored by Kendall Jenner during the NBA game with the Warriors. So if you actually notice, he has no frame. She's getting ignored. She's dubbing Bad Bunny, who's arguably the most popular man in the world right now.
Right, yep.
And she's just too busy saying hi to the NBA players. Okay. And he's trying to grab her attention. He's saying Kendall, and then he's looking like a dick, just drinking his drink. And here's another one. And I really want you to notice where the leadership is on this second one. So read her lips. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah, I got it. Did you get it now?
Huh?
I think did you get it now?
What do you mean?
Like I know he's with one of the Kardashians or something.
Yeah,
no?
so
they
that's
end up
yes.
together?
So they're together. So literally, basically, Kendall Jenner shows up to an NBA game, and Bad Bunny's there with his drink. He's behind her.
Mm-hmm.
She turns around. She says, "I don't know where I'm going," and he's just there, not showing leadership, not showing his masculine role. He's not showing his dominant role. And he's just like, oh, babe, I don't know.
Yeah.
So she's letting her lead, which is going to lead them into a failed relationship because he has literally no balls in the relationship, as it shows.
Well,
I'm sorry for the Bad Bunny fans out there.
Yeah, he has a great music. I heard some of his songs. I definitely listened, but I do not respect him as a man in general.
Why is that?
And that's for many reasons. What I see on stages. And,
Okay.
And I'll give you right now. Even if I didn't know who he is, just simply looking at that, I don't respect. I'll tell you this.
And that's any man. That's not even shitting Bad Bunny.
Any man. Yeah, I don't know who makes more money from them. If you want to go deeper to this, the reason why she chose him probably because she makes money now and she feels like she's now have power, so she wants somebody like that.
Yeah.
Maybe she's happy like that because she's like, you know what, I make money too. I don't want a guy who's gonna lead me. I want somebody who's just gonna be there for me. Right. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But again, no disrespect to anybody, but I don't respect him as a man. And I'll tell you this. I always say this. Woman does not want a controlling man, but they do want men who takes control.
Okay, I like that.
Right.
Elaborate.
He didn't take control. You have to, like, with me and my fiance, there's a problem. Don't worry about it. I'll figure out. I might not even know.
Yeah.
How I might not, like, what the fuck? Like, I'm 36 years old. I never faced your problems like this.
Yeah.
But I'll figure out. You got to take control. You got to figure out. You're a man. That's your duty.
Right.
That's your duty. Everybody has their roles.
Completely agree.
And leading here is like, dude, I'm going to walk. I'm going to hold my hand. I'm going to walk in the front of you, right? I mean, people don't even know basic gentleman rules, right?
Exactly.
You go down the stairs with the lady, you go in front of her.
Right.
You go up the stairs, you got to go behind her. People don't know that. And I don't know. For me, that's not an example of leadership or masculinity or man in general. Again, nothing against him. He could be a great guy and whatever it is, but yes, there's no leadership.
All right. Someone who made toxic masculinity a thing is the Fresh and Fit podcast. And someone very, very popular, as popular as Bad Bunny, Andrew Tate. Okay. Why do you think many people disapprove, this masculinity and call it toxic masculinity?
I personally, I told you, I had a chat with Andrew. He's
Back in September, right?
Back in September.
So you actually had a conversation with
Yes.
Andrew Tate.
I'll tell you right now, having one conversation with him not only multiply my income, it gave me so many more ideas. The guy is golden. He's very humble. I haven't met him in person yet. That's coming soon, hopefully. But he's a great guy, and I believe for everything he stands for. People misjudge him because, again, he's a showsman. He needs to do what he needs to do. I don't blame him for that. And people will find something to obviously always pick on something. Oh, but he said this, but he said that. The bottom line, don't kill the messenger, right? Listen to the message. And the message is everybody has their roles. I believe he values women. Obviously, he has a mother, sister, and a daughter, from what I know. And he doesn't say nothing bad in terms of that. But I think the reason why people misinterpret the whole thing is because, again, that's against it. Half of it is because it's against agenda, right, for bigger agenda, and the other half is because people zombies, right? What do you call those NPC, right? So they just follow the agenda. So it's something new for them, and it's against what they believe or what they've been programmed. So that's why they're pushing away, and that, I think that's why that's the reason why what happened to him.
Anything from the conversation between you and Andrew Tate that really resonated that maybe you could possibly share with the audience out here?
Yes, I can definitely share it. I'm actually putting a video together to share it. Actually, his audio, because I only have a video of us smiling at each other.
That's amazing.
But I what he did is he expanded my mind. He asked me what I do. And I told him that, and he then, I do real estate. He's like, well, you can make 10x, continue doing the same thing, right? You remember Gold Rush, right? You know the story about the Gold Rush, right? When it happened in America.
Right.
You know who made the most money? It's not the people that were digging the gold. It's the people that were selling shovels, right? So same thing with the real estate. He told me, he's like, well, you don't have to become one of those YouTube gurus and open up the whole coaching training for wholesaling, but you can train people. You give people advice, right? You can be able to figure out a way to what you're doing to be able to double dip in what you're doing by sharing your information. And this is what we're working on now, is putting things together to be able to make deals with other people, help other people make a deal, and make my theory is always, if everybody's eating, I'm full, right? I want to make sure everybody eats, right? So that right there is completely shift my whole business, and that's what we're working on now. And I already have results because after that conversation, I had 5 deals that I made money that I wouldn't make money if I didn't talk to him. Because I don't know if you know John Paul Getty, right? Getty gas station. He was one of the first quarter billionaires. He said, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own alone, right? So
wait, that's some sauce right there. Can you repeat it again?
I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of my own alone. So all the secrets and new contracts and new ways that we figure out to make real estate deal better and close the potential client, I share with someone else who has struggled, and I got on a deal, and I sold it to one of my buyers, and I made a cut. I made a spread.
Right.
So that was the conversation.
That's
Andrew.
amazing. So it sounds like Andrew Tate really helped you maybe double, triple, or quadruple your income.
And that's only beginning, because again,
just from a FaceTime.
He just let me he told me don't go left, go right, and because I took a right, is much more doors to open.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And shout out to him. All right. So, Artur, I have this segment where it's random entrepreneurship questions. Okay. We're getting to the end of the show. And what I would like to do is almost like mini Uzi these questions, and you just answer them right there. Okay?
Raw.
All right. First question. What's the biggest loss or scam you had in business?
I lost some money. That's it. Lost money sometime. That's
And what were you doing?
uh,
In what?
I was desperate
Okay.
without doing the research,
Okay.
just going for the kill. You got to know how to say no.
Yeah.
You have to be selective.
Okay.
But it's also understandable when you're young, you just want to take it everything. You're super hungry, but
Right.
that's how you learn. But yeah, I lost money. I spent my last money on gas to meet the client. It was bullshit because I didn't properly filter it. So you lose some money, you lose some time, but you learn from it.
Biggest business risk you took?
Is business risk I took is I quit my job. I was a manager at the bank. I quit my job and I invested all the money in PPC and Facebook marketing. I was like, I still don't know how. I'm learning every day as we go.
Right,
when I meet
right.
up with my team.
Yeah.
But I was like, so you just tell me I'm just going to dump to some company, digital company that barely have any office. I'm going to just dump $10,000
Right.
to get some potential leads.
Yeah.
And then you get like 3-4 leads and it's like crappy leads. I was
Right.
like, oh. So, but that was the biggest risk for me mentally.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm glad I did because then you got the fourth one that covered the whole 5 months expense. Again, it's how you look at it, right?
Right. Is entrepreneurship for everyone?
No.
Why?
People's going to hate me for that because people really do not understand what entrepreneurship is. They think, oh, now I'm going to get an Instagram page and I'm going to post some stuff and I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to sell it. No matter what you do, it takes basics. It takes hard work. It takes dedication. It takes self-education. It takes education to be able to learn the product, learn the trade, but you also got to put some hours. People want now. People want everything now. Entrepreneurship is way harder than having a job. I tell some people you should go back to a job. Like they're just not, because they don't understand what they're getting into it. Like you have to understand the process. So no.
Why do people fail when they try to make their own business or start their own business? Excuse me.
Well, I believe people only fail is when they quit after they try it. So if you don't quit and you try it again and try it again or try something different or learn from your last mistake, you really don't fail. I don't believe in failure, right? I believe in experience. However, to answer your question is because they don't have enough education. They didn't learn. They didn't put them. It's all about network. You got to put yourself. So if you want to do real estate, go hang out with people that does real estate.
Yeah.
Or whatever you do, go hang out. Go learn. Pick up the book. Watch YouTube. Right? I tell my son wants to open up a business right now. They're trying to do drop shipping with his friend. I'm encouraging him, but I give him shit. I was like, I pick him up from school. He plays something on his phone. I was like, you should be watching a video on drop shipping instead of he reads books. I make him read self-development books. I was like, I'm so hard on him. I was like, your drop shipping business is gonna fucking fail.
Yeah.
Why you say that, Dad? Well, because right now, let's open your phone. You spent 3 hours on this game past 3 days. Right? So it goes from 13 years old to 30 years old. You don't put enough hours on learning about what you're trying to do, not getting yourself out there, meeting the people who's doing what you're doing. And I think that's why.
Okay. Celebrities advising people on entrepreneurship. Is that valid considering they're not entrepreneurs 9 times out of 10?
No. Since I even got into entrepreneurship or even prior to this, I always believe follow people who got what you got, right? I'm not going to listen to my gym teacher if he's overweight, right?
Facts, yeah.
I'm not going to go listen to my financial advisor, but he takes the bus.
Yeah.
And it's not like he lives in New York, right? I'm talking about Connecticut. Marriage counselor, but she been divorced or he been divorced 4 times. Like that makes no sense. So again, if they got like what they call Ty Lopez, right? I believe he's the biggest scammer, right? Like I don't know what he does. He just resells other people's ideas and stuff. He put it together. Again, if you have results, if the celebrity has the results, then follow him. If Michael Jordan tells me how to get the brand name going, then I'm going to listen to him.
Right. Makes sense. All right, brother. So any questions for me before we start closing up?
That's a good one. I have a lot of questions for you, but
While I serve you some more cognac.
let's do it. So my question to you would be, you know what, let me ask you this. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, and where do you want to take this podcast? Because I saw your first episode. I loved it. When we met, some people you just know you're going to connect without, you're like, I know this guy's cool. And you meet them and they're cool and they're just same mindset. So I love what you stand for. I love your first podcast. I love what you do. I watched while I was driving here. I believe we have very similar mindset. What is your goal? What do you I want to know, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What is your ultimate goal?
In 5 years, I see myself in real estate. Okay, I have 3 businesses now. My 4th is going to be in real estate, which is why, again, to make the point that you just spoke about, I'm involving myself with a lot more real estate people. Mm-hmm. For example, my previous podcast before that, and then yourself. I'm trying to learn as much as possible in real estate just so I could get into it. Right. Okay. So I see myself definitely in real estate. I see myself possibly living outside of Jersey. I see myself monetizing YouTube and making this podcast bigger than it is. I still see myself personal training in person. However, maybe part-time instead of full-time. And I see myself having my online coaching business in my fitness app, my full-time business as well. And my ATM business, maybe taking over the tri-state. Right now it's just taking over New York City.
Hey, you need help in Connecticut? I got you.
Oh, shit,
well,
man.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for
listen,
having me.
I appreciate you coming here. Listen, before we close up, please share with the audience, where can they find you? How can they reach out to you? If they want to maybe make a deal with you in real estate, where they can contact you, and what's next in your life and your business? I
guess I'll just use my cell phone number, my email, and my Instagram page. You'll be able to post it right in 2 days. But it's the real Shakhnazarov, which you can't spell it, so you'll see it on the screen, I bet. My phone number and my email is all going to be there. You can contact me. Money never sleep. You can call me anytime. I always tell people, call me. You can call me at 1 o'clock. I won't get mad. I might not respond it. I'll respond next day, but you should still call me. So we'll get the information for them.
You know, before we close up, you know what's crazy? I used to work, 4 days out of the week, and I was making decent money. And then, I heard someone that we both familiar with, someone say, work smart and work hard instead of just working smart.
100%. And again,
so now I have no days off. I'm working every day.
Exactly. It's always worked for me. I tell my girl, I was like, you saw me, you called me FaceTime. I was drinking with Brian at the bar and smoking hookah, but we're talking business. It's business for me. You ask me, I love dressing up. Don't get me wrong. I love dressing up. But if you ask me, I want to be in my slippers, in my shorts and my hat and just chilling. But again, you're always working. But the problem with the generation now, they heard that quote and they completely miss it. Exactly. You gotta work smart, 100%. But before you work smart, you gotta put some hours, right? You gotta work hard, and then you switch it and you work. But you can't just work smart and not work hard. No, that doesn't work that way. You gotta put some skin in the game.
Bro, it was a pleasure having you.
Here.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
And guys, stay tuned. We're going to have a small little interlude, and then we have After Hours coming up.